The best business analysts consistently update and upgrade their skills to add even more value to their organization and achieve better business outcomes. I'm Laura Brandenburg of Bridging the Gap, and as a provider of online training to business analysts, one of the most frequently asked questions we receive is how to gain funding for training. While many of our participants invest in their own training on their own behalf, we receive funding. We have also received funding from employers, and sometimes even entire business analyst teams go through our training programs together. So today I want to share what we've seen work and some of the keys to getting internal approval for training and what works and what doesn't. So the first thing, and it's going to surprise you that I'm starting here, but it's important to be confident in your own value as a business analyst. Understand the value you add to your organization and where there are opportunities for you to expand your skill set and deliver even more value. You have to start here with this internal sense of confidence and in your sense that you have this ability to create positive success in your organization. Because employers are going to invest in those who are already creating success because they know that you're going to leverage that training investment to deliver even more value for them. So on this topic, get really clear about how business analysis enables more project success in your organization. Or if that's lacking, be clear on what value you could be adding. What problems pop up on projects now? How could business analysis solve them? What problems does your manager care about? For example, many projects face challenges with changing requirements late in the development cycle, and that causes project teams to run over budget and miss deadlines. Good business analysis and solid requirements practices enable clear communication between stakeholders, and that minimizes unnecessary requirements changes late in the project. Right? So be really clear on that value and how you communicate that value to your employer. This is something we do again and again on an ongoing basis as business analysts. Now, second, gather information, just basic information about your organization's process for funding training. Sometimes it can be as simple as completing a form to make a request. But every year, thousands of dollars go unused because no one asks to use them. You literally don't know what's available until you ask, and you don't know what the process is until you ask. So ask and get really clear on that process. Now, provided there is money, understand your manager's goals for that money. Is it earmarked for specific programs at the end of the year? Is there a specific outcome they want to see? Is there a timeline for that? So often, as we reach year end, one thing to just keep in mind is that managers become even more motivated to use whatever is in their budget this year so they don't lose that money for the following year. Be aware of those budgets, what they're earmarked for, what excess budget you might be able to access later in the year if it doesn't get used early in the year. And always be prepared to make a second request later in the year, even if it was denied earlier in the year. So next, evaluate the program you're considering. How does it meet your manager's goals? How will it help you personally deliver more value to your organization? Does it fit within the budget you have? Build a business case for the value you and the organization will receive from that training investment. Super important. Something we do as business analysts for our projects, we also need to do it for training. You want to make this a no-brainer decision for your manager. They should see an immediate ROI. So for example, participants in the Business Analyst Blueprint actually do their project work through the 4-month program. And so they're adding value right away as they go through the course by improving a business process, clarifying software requirements, and communicating more clearly about the business domain, all modules of the blueprint that you learn about and are able to take immediately with you to your organization. Now have a conversation with your manager about the training you're considering and how you see it helping you personally, as well as adding value to the organization. Be sure to touch on any specific pain points your manager has expressed to you or the goals that they have, right? Make this a win for them. Make it that no-brainer decision. And of course, have any details ready at hand to discuss the training in more detail in case they have questions. Now, if budget is a concern, you may consider providing a couple different options at different price points. So, for example, we offer the individual modules of the Business Analyst Blueprint separately, and then the full intensive program packages multiple courses together with live instruction at a discount over investing in each course individually. So that's part of how you make the business case too, right? There's a discount for investing in this larger program and for getting additional support. Now, with that understanding of your organization's process and your manager's goals, you'll want to submit your formal request. Just follow your organization's processes, right? It could be an email, or there could be a form you need to fill out. A larger organization, you might have an actual website that you go to create training, and it might, check boxes for various approvals. So you also want to factor in any time that you need to request and receive information from your training provider, and make sure you have time to do that. So at Bridging the Gap, we can provide details and documentation that does tend to help facilitate that approval process. So now once you submit your formal request, you're not done. You want to make sure and follow up until you receive that formal approval and know that your registration has gone through. Most training providers require payment in advance of the course start date. And so you want to stay on top of your request so you don't miss out on an opportunity. Now, if you're working with us for a live class like the Business Analyst Blueprint, stay in touch with us about the steps you are going through and when you expect that approval and the funding to actually come through. Often we can work with you in your unique situation because we really love to see people be able to join us for a live program. And because there is a start date, that's a reason to be starting up front, right? And starting earlier rather than later. You might give yourself a month or even 2 months ahead of a course start date to really start the funding process in your organization. Now, what if there's no funds for training? You'll want to get specific details about when funding is made available, how those budgets are prepared, and what you can do to get your share of the funding in future fiscal years, right? So now you're thinking to planning in advance for 6 months from now, 12 months from now, so that you can have these investments at least later in your career life cycle. Now, always realize, though, that there's always money somewhere, right? There might be portions of other budgets that can be reallocated, or perhaps your manager has funding earmarked to bring in a consultant for a specific project. Would they be able to save those costs by you having this training? So think about where there might be money in other areas that you can tap into. Now, if your manager just says no or not now, ask for more information and a reason why. Do they want you to find a different opportunity? Is there a doubt they have? Is there a specific time you should come and ask again? And if you feel adamant that this training will help your career growth, it might be time to make the investment in yourself. Consider the long-term impact on your personal growth and your salary potential. And don't use your employer's unwillingness to invest in you right now as a reason or an excuse to stay stagnant in your career. This complacency, it can have disastrous impacts on your career. Should there be an unexpected change in your company and you find yourself in the job market without the skills you need to be successful, it can be a long road to get back on track. Now, let's look at some of the more common objections that managers tend to have to investing in training. We're doing this not to energize them, but so that you can be prepared to speak to them. What might your manager say that causes a no that you could turn into a yes? So often you'll hear like, oh, but it's a busy time for projects, right? And this is when it's really up to you to make a commitment to keep up with your project work. Our programs are flexible at Bridging the Gap, and they will actually help you do better work on the projects you're doing anyway. And that saves you money or your organization money over an in-person class, as there's no additional travel costs to consider. So those are things that you can speak to and talk about with your manager if you're considering online programs, especially those like ours at Bridging the Gap. Or perhaps you hear that they're saving money for a specific tool training or a specific technical skill. This means that they're not seeing the value of business analysis and the core skills that you would learn when it comes to elicitation or requirements gathering and business process improvement. So articulate how you'd use one of the techniques on the projects that you're assigned now. For example, a typical implementation of a cloud computing system, you would have new and creative ways to analyze and improve the business process, so the tool works as expected for stakeholders. So instead of learning the details of that tool, you're actually learning how to help make sure that tool actually improves the process. And in something like the blueprint, you'd even learn the data modeling and mapping techniques that helps ensure that the business data transfers smoothly from one system to another. So again, core skills that would help with the implementation of a tool like that. Now, another thing you might hear is, hey, you're already doing great work. We don't need you to learn anything new, right? And that just means they're just not seeing the potential for you to do even more work or higher level work and the value this would have for the organization. So revisit those questions around the pain points and opportunities and consider how you can better frame the training you want to support those and how you can start adding value now so they see you adding even more value now as a head start into getting that approval for training. So many times, objections like these are great conversations to have. They give you great insight, not just into the funding available, but how you can develop your career in the organization. So go in with an open mind, be willing to learn, and use your business analysis skills to listen. One of the key skills we have as business analysts. So what strategies have you found help you receive corporate training or funding for training? Please leave a comment below to help out others in the community. We build our profession one business analyst at a time, and success starts with you. So again, I'm Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap, and we provide best-in-class online training for business analysts. We'd love to see you in a future program, and if there's anything we can do to help you receive funding for one of our training programs, please be in touch. Till next time, have a great career as a business analyst, and thanks for watching.